What's going on, guys? It's Dan and Tom here from the TableTennisDailyAcademy.com, and in today's video we're going to teach you 5 match-winning strategies to improve your game.
Yeah, that's right, Dan. Now obviously technique is important in table tennis, but quite often you see those players who maybe don't look the best, but they're very effective in matches, and that is because they can execute strategies and tactics well, and that is what we're going to show you in this video.
Absolutely. Let's get to it.
So strategy number 1, and it's something you may have heard before, but a lot of players neglect or struggle to do it effectively, and that is playing to the elbow or crossover point. Now if you can really target this area well, it stops players getting a strong, clean hit on the ball compared to if you just play to their backhand or forehand. You can really tie them up and force them into a weak shot. Here's a match example of when I play the first ball into the opponent's elbow, forcing a weak return and allowing me to come and take advantage.
So that was a good example there, Tom. You got the strong ball into the middle, into the crossover, it caught the opponent out, then you got the loose ball. Now what's really good with playing to the elbow is it makes your opponent indecisive. They're not sure whether to play a backhand or a forehand. So if I play Tom now and serve and go into his elbow, so really target the elbow, then it opens the play. And what happens is if players don't move very well, they end up leaning, and that's where it's very difficult to play a decent shot. They play a poor shot, then you can make the attack.
Exactly right. Now in principle this is an easy thing to do, playing into the crossover or elbow. Yeah, it sounds very simple, but actually it's quite hard to really find that exact area. It's easy to go a little bit too far to the right and they play a forehand, or it's too comfortable in the backhand. So really targeting that hip or elbow area, you've got to be quite precise with it. Now it's not only on attacking shots when you can try and target the opponent's elbow, even on long pushes, if you can get it into that position, make the open up more difficult for them, or even if you're under pressure, trying to block them into the elbow so they can't get another strong attack. Secondly, by finding this elbow point, it does then make use of the wide angles much more effective. If they're trying to get out the way and get in the right position, they might be leaning or off balance, and then you can use those wide angles into the corners to get them even further out of position.
Okay, so strategy number 2 is don't force it and try and create the point. Many players, I've done this myself so many times, where you play too hard, rush the point, you try and end it too early, and forget about playing with quality and spin to keep yourself in the point.
Yeah, that's right. Under the pressure and the tension of a game, it's very easy to go too hard and fast and make a lot of unforced errors. If you do find yourself doing this, a great way, a great strategy to use is think about putting the first 5 balls on the table with control and safety. This way you can build your way into the point and cut out those unforced errors.
And also, when you end up rushing, it also can sometimes affect you mentally, and you can get frustrated, you get yourself worked up, and just relaxing and just keeping the ball on the table, moving the player around will really help.
Exactly. Now let's have a look at a quick match example of Dan in action here. So here Dan gets a good backhand spin up to start the point, but then he turns and he's not in position for the forehand, and he goes too hard and fast and he makes a mistake. Now in the second point, again Dan has a good first quality ball with backhand spin, but this time he's in a much better position and he doesn't force it. He just plays with enough quality and control and actually ends up winning the point just through getting that first ball onto the table with quality. Now the great thing about this strategy, it allows you to work your way into the game and feel more relaxed. It also puts your opponent under more stress and pressure because they're having to deal with more balls on the table, and it allows you to feel more confident in your own game and stop giving away those cheap and easy mistakes. Okay, so strategy number 3 is quality of spin. Now if you can get deep, low quality spin shots, a lot of players do struggle with containing this and blocking it back or counter-attacking with quality. Someone who's a great example of this is Timo Boll. He doesn't often play a winning outright third shot attack. He plays with heavy spin quality, and the opponents really do struggle to block it and control that shot.
So let's take a look at a demo. Getting that slow, heavy spin is really effective. As Tom said, it's hard for your opponents to attack. Now to do this, you need to have good touch, you need to stay nice and low, and good fast acceleration on the ball whilst brushing it. So let's take a look. Nice, so good spin. You see there, Tom struggled, it come to his middle as well, but that spin, it's very hard to control.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if Dan had played a really hard and fast shot at me there with not much spin but a lot of pace, there's a good chance if I get my back to it, I can get the ball on the table. However, if you're playing with slow, deep, heavy spin, it does require the opponent then to get the right bat angle and get that pressure on the ball to keep it down with quality coming back to you.
Yeah, I always find with levels, like when you play someone better than yourself, they usually put in more quality on the ball, more spin. So it's the same if I play someone, let's say, less than my ability. When I'm using my spin shots, it's very hard for someone to contain, and you can win a lot of cheap points. Same for if Tom plays someone better than himself, you'll find, let's say you play someone like Liam Pitchford. He would have so much spin on the ball.
It's hard for me to deal with the quality.
Yeah, and also pace as well. But really working on spin is at the start of the point. It's absolutely key and gets you a lot of points. Here's Tom in a match situation, and in fact he uses it on the backhand side. He gets loads of rotation on the ball, and notice how the player blocks it out.
Now this does take time to master and practice and really get confident with. Once you do, you will reap the benefits, and notice that the players do block out and make a lot more mistakes.
Yeah. One real tip that I've found when I've taught players to improve this quickly is not to topspin too fast and slow things right down. Even now, if I just do a topspin with Tom and just feel the ball and just brush the ball and really try and spin the ball rather than trying to hit it fast, brushing the ball, using your body and legs, that's going to help you develop that.
What that does, it really helps you understand the dwell and the grip on the rubber. Rather than the ball leaving the bat quickly, you're getting that dwell time, really making use of the grip on the rubber and generating more quality of spin.
Strategy number 4 is the awareness of your opponent and understanding where they are in relation to you and the angles of the table.
Yeah, no, it's very easy in a game to get caught up in your head and then the heat of the battle and just playing the ball, keeping it on the table, and you're not actually aware of what the other person's doing, your opponent, where they are, and where they may be moving to.
Yeah. The more you think about this as well, you start understanding their weaknesses and their strengths, then you can start implementing your game to affect them.
Yeah, and a great example of this is a forehand dominant player who's looking to get around onto the backhand side, and you may be able to spot them turning around, and you can therefore switch them wide into the forehand. And that's a great example of being aware of your opponent and where they are on the table.
Yeah. So now let's take a look at this quick bit of match footage where Tom does well here. The player gets him into the backhand corner. Tom goes for the pivot, but if you notice here in the slow motion, the player starts to pivot as well. Tom spots this and then plays down the line with his forehand, and that caught the player out. So there's an example there of understanding the position of your opponent. And again, this is something that players do neglect, and they just fall into trouble thinking about their own game, but not thinking about the positioning of their opponent.
Another quick example of being aware is when the opponent is always trying to attack quickly in the rally. Now you've got to try and stop this by being aware of that. He's trying to get that topspin in, try and keep it short, keep them out. So let's have a look. If Dan's serving and trying to get his topspin in, I need to be aware of that. So there, he's lined up for the forehand. I've spotted that. I've tried to keep the ball short, and it's the same if players are going for a backhand spin. Maybe they're lining up early, and you've got to try and keep that short. Be aware of what they're doing and stop them attacking.
And there are tons of examples, and it's very unique to specific players, but the more you practice and think about this, you start building more match experience and understanding the game better. For another random example I had in my head, if you're playing someone who likes to backhand flick often, you find that long fast serve to the backhand or short into the forehand will work. Now if you're playing someone who's serving short into the backhand for 90% of the match, they're going to keep that backhand flick going, and then you're under pressure. So understanding your opponent and being aware will really help. Strategy 5 is making your serve count. Now having good variation in your serves and different spins will catch your opponent out more often, and you can get the loose ball to attack. Also, having your serve strong allows you to know the likely return, so you can get in position and be that split second ahead of your opponent to get to the ball. If you're late for the ball, then you can be a bit too slow on your shot, then your opponent has the upper hand. So doing good serve variations and knowing the likely return means you can get that attack in. Now, we recently released a serving masterclass with Per Garel, one of the best servers in the world, so be sure to check that out in the links below. He talks a lot about the likely return and how to disguise the spin, which will really help in this area. The more you can do this well, the more you can get cheap points and help with your winning strategies. Now, there's many examples of making your serve count, but the more you practice your serves and bring them into your game, you can start working out the likely return and also how you can get your attacks in. So here's an example. If I'm playing someone who likes to push often, doing short side spin, top spin serves is very effective because they'll come in for the push and the ball will pop up and then I can attack. So let's just take a look here. If I do a short side spin, top spin, ball comes up and I can tack in strong and get that attack in. If I'm going to do a different serve now, I'm going to try and catch Tom out here. Ready, Tom? So a long fast serve, I'll caught him out. Now, if Tom returned that, I know the ball's going to come long, so I can get ready for that. So it's having the differences on your serves and knowing the likely return will help you.
And this does link back to having awareness of the game as well. Like if Dan's thrown in the long fast serve, you need to be aware that if they're going to return, it's going to be a quick fast return.
Yeah.
If it's a short backspin serve, it's unlikely that you're going to get a big fast topspin. So it's being aware of what serve you've done and in relation to what return that will give you.
Now, some players literally just rely on their serves and they have all sorts of variation. So the more you can practice your serve, it can just be such a good point winner. It's the only time when you have total control of the point, when you are on your serve, so you can really dictate your game.
Exactly right. Now, I think a lot of players, it's very easy in match play to get the ball and just serve it in without enough thought and care and attention. Yeah. So you need to really make sure you're analysing what serve is working for each time and each opponent, what spin to do, and make sure you're not getting trapped into the habit of just doing a safe serve and putting it in play. Make it count, and it will really improve your match play results.
So here's some match examples of players making their serve count.
hook, the last minute hook. Yep. So there was a couple of great examples of players really making their serve count, sometimes getting a weak return, and on other occasions, directly winning the point from the serve.
So there we go, guys. There was 5 match strategies to improve your game.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you might not be able to bring these into your game overnight, but with time and practice, you will be able to gradually build on them and improve it.
Absolutely. What I like about these different match strategies is it makes you more unpredictable. You're thinking more about the tactics, the positioning of your opponent, the placement, and all these things will just make your game a lot stronger and harder to beat.
So be sure to give these match strategies a try in your training and practice matches.
And let us know in the comments, guys, if you've got any other match strategies that you use. But for now, be sure to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.